Raf.
James.
Good to see you, mate.
It's great to see you. Apologies up front. We're a day late, a buck short.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
I'm writing the report.
I know
I'm losing and failing.
I know there's a lot of you who sort of rearrange your Thursday. Some people are listening to these episodes real quick.
Yeah.
Disturbingly.
But I get it. It's like, it's just part of your routine or whatever, right? You wake up on a Thursday morning and like chuck it on in the car or in your job or whatever. It's there. It's not there. It wasn't there yesterday.
So we apologize for that. But
it's there today.
Totally. We're people with lives and occasionally things intervene. And for that, I apologize. But anyway, we are in many ways arrogant.
Yep.
We proceed to talk about things that we find interesting.
Yes.
We don't care what our listeners find interesting.
No.
But every now and again, we're struck with the feeling of, let's speak to the people.
Let's
find out, at the end of the day, we have an audience. You people help us. You people pay us. Some of you do.
Yep. Some of you do. If you're complaining about the ad load, maybe you should.
Maybe you should. Maybe you should pay us, especially if you're getting value from it. So today we are doing something we haven't done in a little while, which is a Q&A episode.
Q&A. Mark, make it Q&A thing.
Theme, great.
You nailed that, Mark.
We actually got a ton of questions.
Well, so when you first posted it from the Down Around account on Twitter, I thought it was looking ropey, but then they came through. There's a longer tail on Twitter than one thing.
No, it's true, but I think it's also because Elon Musk has shadow banned us.
I believe we've been shadow banned.
We've been shadow banned for speaking truth, which I know a lot of people say, but when we say it, it's actually true. But we got a bunch of questions in through email, through Instagram, through Twitter. Actually, more questions than I think we've ever gotten before.
Discord, though, I feel like.
Discord was also big. So we've got a bunch of questions that all came from you, our cherished listeners, and we're going to power through them. Because there are so many, this is actually going to be all of this week. So probably about halfway through, we're going to split it. We're going to put the rest behind the paywall. If we were smart, we'd have kept our free listeners on the front side of the paywall and our paid listeners on the back half.
Like the questions?
Yeah, the questions. But also
with the free listeners on the back half to force them to sign up. That's genius. We should have done that.
That's not what I meant, but I actually think that's wiser and smarter. So, cool. All right. So, these are all questions from our cherished listeners who want to find out what the Down Run boys think on a range of topics. Now, Raf is coming in completely cold.
Yeah,
I have not alerted him to anything we're being asked, but it ended up being great. There was a lot of questions about things that we wanted to talk about anyway that we haven't gotten back to in a while, so it worked out very, very well. Some of these I've recorded the name of the person who asked.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them I completely forgot. So if I say your question and we answer it and I don't say your name, I apologize in advance. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. Okay, first question is a heavy one.
Uh-oh.
It's not that heavy, but,
Thank God.
This comes from Sasagi Army.
Okay.
In the Discord.
Yep, usually quality.
Yep. He asked, if one of the big AI companies does fail,
okay,
what does that look like?
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be a funny one. Realistically, the big ones is only really Anthropic and OpenAI. Chuck XAI in there, I suppose. But the thing is, I'm going to cut that out immediately because, if XAI fails...
It's part of SpaceX.
Doesn't really matter.
There's some...
It's protected.
Yeah. Well, you got to...
It's not only protected, but, there won't be a cascade.
No. Well, think about the very top level, first of all. And the very top levels are Google and Meta, basically.
Yeah, I guess Microsoft. Realistically, it's because of the cloud platform, a lot of people are using OpenAI through Microsoft, etc.
Totally.
But Microsoft, Google, and Meta are not going to fail.
They're fine. And I think the big one to think about, because again, this is irrelevant. So we're talking about a world in which AI has kind of to some extent failed. Or the bubble has popped. AI may not have failed, but the financial bubble has popped.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's go straight into bear territory.
Okay.
So yes, let's tease out a scenario where
okay,
AI bubble pop. That I think can really only be, I mean, it's a cascading effect, but like a huge catalyst to make that happen would be something like OpenAI not being able to meet a debt repayment obviously the way these things could happen, there could just be a general sentiment that AI is not living up to expectation and therefore they can't get another funding round. So therefore it leads to them not having enough money, which leads to them defaulting on a debt, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Something like that we're talking about, right?
I think the most likely, aside from, as you said, like OpenAI has a ton of debt and they failed to meet one of their debt repayments. I think one of the things you'll see is that you'll probably see at the top end, actually. You'll see Google or you'll see Microsoft or you'll see Meta or whatever report at a quarterly earning or whatever, some very obvious leveling out of revenue from AI or cloud or something like that.
Yeah.
Like cloud growth flatlining or like the growth being incredibly clipped, and the market looks at that and goes, AI's fucked.
Yes.
So, we saw like a vague version of that in this current round of earnings, and that Microsoft took a big hit because their cloud growth was down.
Well, no, it wasn't down.
It was just like
the Wall Street estimated it to be 40%, and it came in at 39%.
39%, yeah.
Growth.
And
we're talking about here. I don't know if that was revenue. I think that was like net profit.
Yep.
And Microsoft said the reason is we diverted a lot of compute to internal.
Yeah.
So we're getting for the Q&A episode, we're getting pretty techie straight away. But,
no, it's fine.
But come with us.
But,
and this is the big question for big, especially cloud providers, Amazon, Google, Microsoft is for every bit of compute that we give to our internal teams for R&D or for, in the case of Meta or, in the case of Google, is for ads, right? It's we can use our compute for ads or we can on-sell it via Google Cloud to third parties. Whenever they're using it internally, that's compute that they can't put a margin on top of.
Yeah.
Right? And that was basically the case with Microsoft. They were we chose to use that compute internally for R&D, for ads, for whatever it is, for our own products. We intentionally made that call. That was, yes, enough to set them down 9% or something.
Yeah, it was pretty dramatic.
But that 1 percentage point miss.
I think that does show just how skittish investors are right now. Because, we're in that zone where there's a bunch of investors who still think all this CapEx will be paid off eventually. We're building the fucking machine god. We're building the future. But there's a bunch of them who are kind of all right, when are we going to start seeing some returns? Whatever.
I think you are seeing returns, by the way. I think that Meta and Google in particular are proving it. And not just with passing on cloud, making a margin on top of on-selling compute to third parties. I think in the sense of ads, and this has been reported in other places or whatever, but one of the big things is AI allows, it's new inventory. If you're selling ads, if you're you used to sell, if you're Google and you used to sell ads off best running shoes.
Yep.
Cool. It was very hard to monetize the people are now using Google search because of AI mode or whatever to say over 40, just getting into running, what's the best equipment that I can use? They couldn't monetize that previously. It's too complex to run ads against. Because of AI and LLMs, you can now monetize these much bigger queries. Not only can you monetize them, you can put them against a person's profile. And in the case of Meta in particular, it's now when people are asking Meta AI things, it's okay, cool. That goes against the matrix that is that persona, and I can use it to more efficiently target ads against people. So point is even the LLMs are making advertising products more efficient.
Yeah.
But yes, sorry. I know you know that, but yes, the Wall Street concern is more, okay, all you companies are buying heaps of graphics cards. Most of it is for on-selling to other people. What if other people are just okay, we've got enough AI now. Thank you very much.
Yep. And also the other dynamic, and we've talked about this in the past, but it's if Anthropic, if OpenAI, if a bunch of other firms decided, all right, we're not making any more new models, we're not putting any more development time into the new version of Claude, the new version of GPT, that's it. We're not developing anymore. We're just going to sell what we have. They would be able to sell that at a profit, right? They could make that profitable pretty easily. Much of the fact that their spend is massively outrunning their revenue and they're all based on investment is the fact that Anthropic has released Claude 4.6 Opus. Now they've got to build 5. They've got to build 5.5. They've got to build 6.
And every future one costs more than the
costs more. So anyway, but getting past it, I think this is the way I see it happening. If it does, you see the hyperscalers report some issue in their earnings, a flatlining of revenue or a costs going up, CapEx going up, a sense that, they're not capturing it with the revenue they're generating. That probably shows up in NVIDIA earnings, Like
Yeah.
that cascades to NVIDIA.
Well, I mean, the canary in the coal mine, as we've talked about, we've reported on Down Round since late last year, is like, yeah, the NVIDIA OpenAI kind of that relationship. And if it turns out that, as we reported last year, that Grace Blackwell, NVIDIA's most recent live chips, don't live up to expectations, that could be a worry.
Yeah, no, I think so. But I think, let's say OpenAI collapses. I think, they're the ones that, if you look at a company that may collapse because of these cascading issues, some sort of like financial crisis that comes from an AI bubble burst, you're probably looking at those guys. This is my personal prediction, if it does happen, is that I don't think you get like a government backstop per se, but what you get is like it becomes a national security issue.
Yeah.
The US government facilitates OpenAI being sold to Microsoft.
Yeah.
Being sold to whoever. They look past.
It'll be Microsoft.
They'd be Microsoft.
Unless it's some weird Oracle thing, but no, they don't have enough cash.
They just, because at the moment, like, you got to think about it, it's a national security issue. There's a development war with China.
Yeah.
They don't want any of that.
Everyone's seen Seed Dance,
Yeah, totally. And we'll talk about that in a bit, I think. There's a few questions about that. But it'd be like a Silicon Valley Bank style managed sale with like government involvement to make sure it was looked after. I think if this does happen, it would be like massively destructive to the economy because it's what it's sort of hanging off at the moment. It'd be bad.
I mean, it'd be massively destructive to the stock market.
Yeah.
For sure. But would it be like, if we're talking GFC 2? No.
I don't think so. I mean, famous last words. But
I don't even think we're talking .com bubble. Like, there's just not that many companies implicated. Again, famous last words. Like, fuck. I don't want.
Yeah.
What I literally just said a minute ago could look really bad in 3 years. But no, I back myself. Yes, we're talking about heaps of money. Yes, we're talking about the biggest company in the world being NVIDIA, like losing a bunch of market cap, half more, possibly.
It could
but
be.
like .com was many companies basically not having a product being live on the stock market.
And this is the thing where it's kind of like the one core difference is that you have a lot of extremely large cash printing machines.
OpenAI and Anthropic are making heaps of cash.
They are, but I'm talking about your Metas, your Googles, your Microsofts.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, they're always going to be. They're not going to be, fine, whatever. I'm sure they can shed $1 billion, but like, they're making money.
Yeah, totally. Well, Mark Zuckerberg said, and this was kind of like one of his recent things, and this came as part of the thing that we've talked about, where all these companies think they would rather overspend than underspend. But Mark Zuckerberg basically said, obviously coming out of the metaverse shit, if it turns out that AI is a bust, and obviously he said this in a far more diplomatic way than I just did, we'll pivot.
Yeah.
And we've got the depth of revenue and product and whatever that we will be able to survive.
It's not existential.
It's not existential for us.
But missing it is. Exactly.
But
like, that's
totally.
it's the Occam's razor, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, look, that's how I think it would look. And there was a follow-up question. I don't know if it was from the original question or it was someone else. How badly exposed is Australia to a collapse or a bubble burst? I think we're exposed to this level that it would be a massive shock through the global economy and global equity markets and whatever. But we are insulated a bit by the fact where it's like some data center companies would probably suffer pretty badly.
Yeah.
But like, it's one of the beauties
You're not even employing that many people. We're going to keep digging shit out of the ground.
It's one of the beautiful things where it's like, we would probably suffer a bit of blowback, but it's like, it's one of the beautiful side effects of just not really having an AI industry at all. Like, none of our companies are going down. The Commonwealth Bank and the miners are not going down.
Yeah.
So I think we're okay. But anyway, that's how it might look.
But not that bad. Sorry, I think it wouldn't be that bad. That's my final prediction. It's not GFC 2. It's not .com 2. That's
Okay.
my prediction.
All right. Big words. This is from Duck Honkin.
Duck Honkin?
Duck Honkin.
Jesus.
Duck.
What platform is Duck Honkin on?
He was on X. Does generative AI have genuine disruptive potential in film, TV, and the visual arts generally? Well, they say other than video games and graphic design, but I guess we can throw that in there as well. Or will it settle in as a tool for filling in gaps, like establishing shots, stock photos, Haitian priests doing sick backflips?
Ooh.
I don't know if that was like a video that he'd watched us before. Does generative AI have a genuine disruptive potential in entertainment? This is interesting right now. And I've been thinking about this a lot. So one of the things that's happened recently is that ByteDance, the Chinese company behind TikTok, just last week revealed their new generative video model called Cdance 2. So their LLM is called Seed 2, their most recent one, and their video model is called Sea Dance. And it caused a bit of a stir and caused like the Hollywood studios to freak out a bit because it was basically like it did big budget blockbuster style visuals
with big chunks though as well, right? It's
like
you can
longer,
do up to 10 minutes.
Yeah, allegedly they've solved the problem and made it like you can do up to 10 minutes of video generation. You know, there's lots of like Marvel movie-esque, big cinematic sound, CGI looking stuff. Like you got a fucking giant cat attacking the Golden Gate Bridge and it looks really cinematic. And this caused like a bit of a freak out among the Hollywood studios. They all sent cease and desists, mainly because like a lot of the stuff was actually
like using their
massively copyright infringing. You know, I don't know. Did you see the clip where it was like Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt fighting, and then like Brad Pitt is like, "You killed Jeffrey Epstein."
Okay, I didn't.
He was a good man. You know, that kind of shit.
I did see someone being like, and you guys are saying that AI is a bubble, and like posted.
Yeah.
And I saw Brad Pitt and who was it?
It's Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise.
Yeah, and Tom Cruise, and I scrolled on by. To be honest.
Well, I mean, doesn't that say it all? You just kept scrolling. But anyway, visually very impressive. It's not available to the general public, and from what I've seen, apparently,
I thought it was like there's some memes going around. You either know what I'm talking about or you don't.
Yeah,
very funny. If true, had a sense of humor.
Yeah, that was exactly like people when the model's not released to the public, you don't know if these early people are kind of representing the prompts they're putting in.
Yeah,
honestly. Like they may have given it more guidance than they claimed.
Yeah, but I think I said this a couple of months ago. Like I saw the first signs of humor a couple of months ago in the models. In this latest batch of models.
Yeah.
And if true, this also has a sense of humor. I'm like, that's actually funny.
Yeah.
Like you've intentionally been funny, which I don't know what that infers. I mean, humor does infer intelligence in my brain. In my monkey brain. If you're funny, I think you're smart.
I think that's fair enough.
So maybe AGI achieved.
Anyway, but the question was, does it have genuine disruptive potential? I think it does have genuine disruptive potential.
Yeah, so Dario Amodei was recently on the Dwakesh podcast. Try spelling that when you've got my spelling.
Yep.
Dario Amodei being the CEO of Anthropic.
Yep.
You know, the specific question that Dwakesh asked was around video editing. It was like, so how long until my video editor is replaced? And Dario Amodei was basically like 2 years, 2 to 3 years, basically.
Yeah.
I was also thinking, in that moment, I was like, thinking about like the video editor editing that.
Like having to do the cuts around
like
him saying that.
Specifically about him.
Yeah.
Like not even just like generic video.
Yeah,
it's like how long until my video editor is placed? 2 to 3 years. Now, I don't buy that ish. Because like right now, the tools are so far away from video. Like cutting up a bunch of footage.
Totally. There's a precision there. I mean, like
I can imagine it cutting up like transcript, right? Like you imagine it like, you know, it transcribes a bunch of things with some descriptions and puts it into place, but like cutting it and cutting camera angles and stuff, maybe, but like I feel like 2 to 3 years.
Well, I feel like the fundamental question that Duck Honkin is asking is this idea of like, are we going to see generated videos that people have done from prompts using something like ByteDance?
Well, no, ask the original question again, because he was talking about jobs.
Well, no, he said, does generative AI have genuine disruptive potential in film, TV, and the visual arts, or will it settle in as a tool for filling gaps? Because it's an argument people have. It's like, you know, you look at something like Sea Dance generating fucking
funny memes
and like longer videos and like blockbustery type stuff. Is that going to be disruptive, or is it just going to become like a pipeline tool that the same people who make Hollywood movies now?
Like, I think that we do this weird thing where we go like, will it replace a Hollywood blockbuster? Like Hollywood blockbusters have been replaced by people looking at people on TikTok.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
You know, what's your paradigm here?
But also,
is it like, if you're talking about like, will AI generated videos take attention away from professionally produced content? Yes. Will people go to the movies and watch a 1 hour long AI generated film? I don't think that's the right, like that's really putting like old world mindset onto things.
No,
will people sit down and watch 1 hour of AI slop? Yes, they're probably doing it now.
No, I think that's a good point. Like people are. There is something that I think is interesting that is sort of playing out, and you're seeing this, where you watch these videos of like whatever. There's this blockbuster video of a giant cat destroying the Golden Gate Bridge. That's something that I saw that was generated with Sea Dance. And I watch that and I go, oh, that's really impressive. And it's crazy that like a transformer-based architecture algorithm can do that. And the sound is so like big and cinematic, and it looks like something that you could like that would have taken
the slop.
that would have taken months.
Embrace.
It's slop, but it's so impressive. But it's also like, would I sit down and watch an hour of that? I don't think I would.
I don't know, man. Depends how much ketamine you've had.
That's a good point. But then there's a second level above that, and this is what I was talking about with someone recently, where it's like, okay, you've sat down and either through a direct prompt or like a little bit more of massaging where you had to do a bit of editing or whatever, and you've made like an hour and a half long your own Marvel movie.
Yeah, but fuck the Marvel movie stuff, because we always go to this. Okay.
Or anything.
Anything. Someone's funny. Someone is really funny.
Yeah, okay.
And they put together a bunch of skits. It's an hour-long skit show.
Yep.
Of just like
fully AI
full
generated.
AI generated, but it's like a funny person has done it. And you're just getting hit with like, and it is funny because it's like funny ideas.
Okay.
Of course you watch that.
Yeah, okay.
But I guess my point is like, I really don't think that this world of like 1.5 hour long fucking $100 million Hollywood blockbuster is going to be replaced by AI that someone makes for $250. I just think it's like such a weird juxtaposition there where you're like, it's weird framing to be like, it's that or that, like that's the framing, as opposed to just like computer games have stopped people watching 1.5 hour long Hollywood blockbusters.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
like there are broader like economic and like societal changes that have challenged the $100 million Hollywood blockbuster, and like someone making a 1.5 hour longer AI slop Marvel video is like the least of the worries.
I think you're right, but
it's all just entertainment.
No, I agree. One other thing I've been thinking on is like, what is Hollywood, right? Like, what are the Hollywood studios? Yes, they have like a production bottleneck. Like, they are the people that control all the gear and like all the pipelines for CGI development and like all this different stuff. There's like a taste filter as well. Like, you need producers who say this movie is good, this one's going to appeal, this one's not. There's this whole infrastructure that's built up over 2 centuries. There's also like the marketing side of it. There's like the massive architecture of storytelling.
Yeah.
Which I think is still going to be, even once AI is fully through the system, will still play like a gatekeeper function for a while yet. I think.
As well as like creating kind of mass experiences.
Totally.
Or
And
whatever.
again, in the day, like Stranger Things, that's something I can think of. Netflix original property, popular enough that you can probably speak to any 22-year-old in Australia and say, did you watch the most recent season of Stranger Things?
Yeah.
And there's a good chance that they probably did.
Yeah.
Like half of them probably have.
People still want communal experiences.
They want communal experiences.
Yeah.
And it's like some of them might be AI.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
some of them may be, they cost $250.
at the moment, I could not name a single like fully AI generated by like a person who is not in the mainstream system, who's made something. The one this
that
is
has
an example
cultural cachet.
that has cultural cachet that everyone would recognize.
Yeah,
the one,
but from a like artistic sense. or whatever.
artistic says the one thing I think we mentioned on the podcast, but like for like an AI generated piece of content, it's like the "We Are Charlie Kirk" song.
Yes.
We are Charlie Kirk. We can.
Like,
But was that intentionally parody?
I don't know what the original intent. It's definitely AI.
Yes.
So they've made it with Suno, I think.
Yeah.
I think it might have been genuine. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
I think that might be part of it, right? Like-
it was genuinely made.
but when you mix genuine with AI, like you do get some magic right now. And that's
it.
only going to happen now.
And it is magic. If as soon as I hear the first 2 notes of "We Are Charlie Kirk," I'm like, I know what this is,
This is a certified hood classic.
which is crazy because there's no other AI content of any kind that reaches that threshold. But I'm like, this is "We Are Charlie Kirk."
If you see a large woman on a bridge holding a rock, you know what's about to go down.
She's about to destroy that bridge. I agree with that, but I also don't think that has.
No, I know. I know what you mean. Like from the emotional conviction of art, like that's
Okay. But to answer our friend Duck Honkin, I would say 2 points.
pipeline. We got to get back to the jobs and shit. Like I think it 100% becomes a tool.
It becomes a pipeline tool. Storytelling and being someone who has the brain and the sense to like build a narrative over however long it is. That's automatic. That's already a rare talent. And I
Yes.
reckon that these tools will bring more people in,
Yes.
especially people from developing nations or like outside of just have no access to the system right now to get in there.
No, well, even like just think about even if you are like a talented director in the making.
Yeah.
Like think of the steps you have to go through as just like a kid in Australia, where you've got a lot of land of opportunity.
Yeah.
For someone to give you a crack at being a director.
Yeah. It's rare. Totally.
Like that's. But if you can sit down and start directing AI to fucking do different angles and whatnot, then I think that's good. I think people need to like chill out, and it's like just worry about if it's good or not.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good point. But I do think that like it being tooling more than there's a random kid in Pakistan who's just made a massive blockbuster video and everyone knows what it is. I think that is further away than people think.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. I think it's a tool that'll just keep being part of the arsenal.
Totally.
Still got to be good.
Totally.
Still got to have talent to make something good.
All right. So next question, this kind of plugs into some things we've been talking about. This is from Tom McCarthy. I think this was on X. I could be wrong. What's happening with sports streaming? How realistic is it to see a big dog like Netflix getting into local content like the NRL?
So I mean, a big dog like Amazon
definitely. Netflix will never do that. Because
ever.
Here's the thing that it's become really clear with. I mean, Netflix is a specific example. They are not interested in like ongoing sports stuff. They want big event
moments,
things. And they also are agnostic about whether it's sport or anything else. I think the big example was like the.
I think that they will eventually. Netflix will have a ongoing sports season.
A whole league.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sorry, I should again clarify. I'm bad on Netflix, and I'm not the guy.
No, I get it, but I think everything they've done, and it seems like their strategy currently, and you could be right that they may change this. Their live strategy is like one big, massive thing that draws people in.
Yeah.
So obviously it's like boxing. They have some WWE things.
Well, they had like NFL the Christmas Day or Boxing Day or New Year's Day or whatever.
They had one of the NFL things because they did also Alex Honnold climbing Taipei 101.
Yeah.
Like the big climb the building sort of shit. That's the sort of stuff I think they like more than having like an ongoing thing where it's like.
Yeah, but I see them differently. Like that, that's a big cultural moment. That everyone's talking about Netflix. Everyone's watching Netflix at the same time. Maybe you're getting people to resubscribe from Netflix because they want to see that if the bloke dies on the tower again. Eventually, the retention you get from having live sports.
Yeah, it is true. It would be so against everything they've done to have like the deal for a sport. Certainly locally. I think they're so far away from having like the NRL.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm pretty sure that they want, I think it's like $3 billion for the next NRL deal. That's what Vlandis is looking for. And what was the last AFL broadcast deal was like 4.5 or something.
Yeah, it was billions. Yeah,
it was crazy.
Like over 5 years or whatever it is.
It's just like the thought of Netflix having to broadcast every single pithy fucking game of a league, of an entire season, of anything, seems crazy. Like the whole infrastructure seems wrong. This is just my take. It's always on the homepage. And competing with all the rest of the shit they pay for, it just seems crazy to me.
But like your experience will be different. It won't be competing with things for you because you never click on it.
No, but
like the world is personalized now. Like even we talk about big cultural moments because like that the big cultural moment is that Stranger Things is on everyone's top left-hand corner because everyone happens to watch it, but everyone's fucking Netflix homepage is different.
It's true. No, it is true, but it's also like the volume of stuff they do.
Yeah, you're probably right. I just feel like
but also,
sport is such a no-brainer, but right now it's also it's so expensive because it's like the dying gasps of all of the like legacy media are clinging on to their subscribers and their like, connection with their audiences via sport.
I think
once the field is cleared out a bit.
I think Netflix are actually, this is not me saying this about every streaming service. I just think Netflix specifically, it seems so jarring to what they're doing.
Yeah, but ads were jarring, right?
Yeah, it's true. But like
live was jarring, and then they do live.
Amazon definitely is doing stuff. Apple's
they did this
Major League
soccer, and then they did. What are they doing with F1? Their movie.
They had the movie, but they're definitely showing some F1.
They're doing
stuff.
some F1. They might be doing all the F1.
I can't remember if I told you this, but my Apple TV carked it after however many years. Like it just broke and stopped working. And I was like, whatever. But it was out of warranty, so I went to the Apple store at Broadway to buy a new Apple TV. And I went in and I spoke to the Apple store guy. And while I was like, can I just get an Apple TV 4K? And he was like, sure. And he was ringing it up and he was he like held it up and he was like, you can watch F1 on this. And I was like the movie? He was like, yeah, the movie, but like some of the races as well. You can actually plug this in. You can watch some F1. I was like, did I tell you to say that? He was like, yep. Just crazy. F1, which, let's be honest, incredibly niche sport.
It's still niche. It's still niche at all. It's had a glow up because Americans discovered it, but like it is still super niche.
Yeah, like, I know it has, F1 definitely has like the gala social scene sort of vibe to it. Like people like associating with it.
That's why Apple like it. Big, sleek, fucking powerful but beautiful cars and, like handsome Europeans driving them,
Exactly. But like, it's not something you can just assume a regular person will
at
ever
Broadway or whatever
will want to watch. Although, just a side note, I know that you're not a movie guy. So the F1 movie was directed by Joseph Kosinski, who did like the Top Gun sequel. The Top Gun sequel was crazy because they put cameras on the backs of like fighter jets. And like some of the visuals were crazy in that movie, right?
Yeah.
And he did the same thing for F1.
Mm.
And you watched it and you were like, they have cameras on the back of the cars like in the races. It's actually not that crazy.
They've had like GoPros on them for ages.
It's not that crazy to see that in a cinematic environment. Like the jets, yeah, that's weird and rare and crazy. Anyway, whatever. I think you'll definitely see, I mean, we're talking about Australia, DAZN, which obviously acquired Foxtel. They're going to be in the next time the NRL and AFL deals roll around. I'm sure they'll be in the mix. There'll be a bunch of stuff happening. And I know Amazon are doing stuff, but they're a bit selective. Well, I mean, the direction of travel is definitely towards that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day.
Yeah, we should move on. We're fucking talking about stages. Anyway, next minute. We've only got through like 2 or 3 questions, right?
I know, but they've been great chats, mate.
Yeah, true. It's been great to be here. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you,
actually,
dear listener.
There was actually a
Thank you for
secondary
listening.
question there, which I think we can address very quickly. Why KO gets shitter but price go up? That's the
world, brother.
That's the law of the world, right? There's not much I can help you with there.
Back in the day, it was a penny for your thoughts. What would it be nowadays? $10. $10 for your thoughts, mate. Well, I know what it is, actually. It's, what do we charge? $9 a month. Good deal, actually.
It's a great
We
deal.
should
If
up
you're
that.
not on it, mate,
Should be $9 US.
get onto it.
Thank God we didn't peg. Remember, we were originally talking. I was talking about pegging our subscription to the US dollar.
Yeah, no. I actually,
Thank God for that.
I strongly counselled against it, not because of I expected the dollar,
debasement of the currency.
but it is glad we did. Next one is actually more of a comment than a question. It is phrased as a question, but I think it's more of a comment. This is from Ed on Instagram. I believe is one of our British listeners. Were you aware that they released a memorial mobile phone for Will and Kate's wedding, and its default ringtone was God Save the Queen, and it looked like an old school Nokia with a Union Jack on the back?
I was not aware. That's sick, though.
That's red hot.
That's so good. Will and Kate, what year was that? That was teens, right?
It was a while ago, yeah. Yeah, it would have been early teens, I think.
Fact check that.
Okay, I'll look it up right now. 29th of April, 2011.
2011. Okay, that's basically teens.
Yeah, yes. I thought, 2010. So that's 4 years into the smartphone revolution.
And we're getting it. That's great. I did
So
not
you're
know
getting
that.
a Nokia style phone.
Yeah, actually, we would love that as a gift. If anyone out there has that,
If you've got the Will and Kate Memorial,
where we might even be doing
Dumb
videos
phone.
soon, and we'll put the phone behind us.
we will. So, Ed, if you can get hands on that because you're in the UK,
Or anyone.
please let us
If
know.
someone's in the UAE and they get hands on it,
Yeah,
get it
absolutely.
our way.
Next question. Why haven't copywriters been 100% replaced by AI yet?
Great question. Well, it's because good copywriters still put a little bit of je ne sais quoi on
They
top
put a
of
bit.
it.
They put a bit of swang on it. Yeah, actually, I think that there are two things. Number one is that I think there's a lot of low-level copywriting that
Who
has
have been replaced, absolutely.
especially if you're doing any sort of like e-commerce copywriting for like product descriptions, all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
Your job is gone.
Social media manager people.
I know, just like intuitively, not just intuitively because I've spoken to people and I've experienced it. If you're an entry-level copywriter right now, that is a very hard job to be getting into. A lot of that shit kicker work has actually been fully automated.
Yeah.
But the second point I would make, and I think this actually speaks to the every bit of AI disruption generally, which is that at the end of the day, a lot of these white collar jobs, copywriting, consulting, whatever, at the end of the day, it's just like someone who is able to sit in meetings and receive a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
And copywriting is exactly the same.
Yeah.
A lot of your job as a copywriter, and I've done a bit of copywriting in junior in my career, is you are sitting in meetings with creative directors and clients and all these sort of people who are like, I don't know about that. Is that right? Should we want to sound like that? How about, what is this?
Yeah.
Why did you write that? That actually,
Well, we kind of need to do more like this, as well as you said, sitting in meetings with people more senior than you who don't want to, at the end of the day, they don't want to write the copy. They want to sit in a meeting, quickly read something before the meeting, and then fire back their opinion. And yes, you could do that to AI, but then you're responsible.
Yep. And then you totally, you need someone to wear it. And also, like, weird feedback like, we did something a bit like that in our last campaign, but the CEO's wife thought it sucked. There's just so much of that around. A lot of it is like managing expectations and client stuff. Plus, on the upper end, and I think it is true, there's a bit of swang that you put on it.
Yeah, it is true. And yes, this is a down round theme of like, again, we've been saying for a year.
Taste.
Everyone's like,
Everyone's talking about taste now.
yeah, AI will replace your job, but I put in my profession, there's actually a little bit of just a little X factor.
It's like,
I
don't know.
put a little mustard on it.
Yeah,
There's a little je ne sais quoi.
like,
Sure, the shit versions of me. They're replaced. But someone like me,
I've used Claude Opus 4.6. And you know what? It's actually not bad. But TBH, the copy that I wrote for Australia's fucking Pepsi event on Cockatoo Island,
Yeah.
I actually put a little bit in that I think, if you inspect the metrics, gave us a 3% lift on RSVPs.
But the reality is, like, I am better at writing than Claude Opus. I'm just going to put that out there.
Crazy.
It's good, but I'm better.
Not everyone can say that.
It's just the case.
No.
Like, I ask it for 10 ideas and I'm like, they're fine, but I'm about to nail this. Watch and learn.
Just get ready for number 11. It's coming at you hot out of the kitchen. But
It's true though.
No,
I can always make it better.
Okay.
I can always make it better.
Yeah, I think so. And like, it comes back to like, there are no doubt elite copywriters who are using these tools, then refining the outputs. But I actually think that like if you're someone who's graduating from uni today and you're trying to get a job for a brand as a copywriter, you're having a shit time because a lot of this sort of stuff that you would do kicking off, like Facebook ad copy, product descriptions on e-commerce platforms, that sort of shit, that is gone. It's just like the more elite, taste sensitive, discerning things. This just speaks to like the general stuff. What do they call it on the Dario Amadei on the podcast talk about? It was like the diffusion, economic diffusion. How quick does this stuff, even though it has the capability, percolate through the economy? It's actually a lot slower than you think. And I think it's
we've been saying that. That's a massive down round thesis. Like, yeah, all well and good to go to an organization and say, like, you can fire 80% of your devs and 95% of your copywriters because new technology. It's like no one fucking wants that.
Yeah.
Literally no one wants that. Good luck.
Yep. We'll do a couple more before we slam down the paywall.
Yeah.
This one came from Christian Carr on Twitter, and he asked, "Is Nolan right?"
Okay.
So he was talking about Dan Nolan, previous Down Round guest, friend of the pod.
Actually, Dan Nolan was on episode, I looked at this the other day, episode 14, I believe it was. It was around there. I think it might have been 14. That might be correct. Is AI going to take your job? I think was the title. Something along those lines. It's like, is AI taking your job?
This would have been like 2022, maybe?
This was 3 months before ChatGPT.
Okay.
Not bad.
That's pretty good.
That was our second AI episode.
Wow. Before ChatGPT, we were on it.
Correct.
Yep.
GPT-3 was mentioned.
Yep. Before ChatGPT. Again, we're on top of it. Anyway, so Christian said, "Is Nolan right?" and quote tweeted a post that Dan Nolan had made on Twitter, which was, "You should really, really worry about your next job." We could answer that. We could answer that question for you, Christian, but we thought, rather than us putting words in Dan Nolan's mouth, let's let the man speak for himself. We asked Dan to answer your question and justify the post that alarmed you so much.
Okay.
This is what Dan had to say.
Hello, Moto.
G'day, gents. Talking to you regarding my post about you need to be worried about your next job that I posted on the Everything website. What I mean by that is I don't think AI is going to necessarily transform businesses immediately. I don't think you're going to see immediate layoffs in organizations. I do think you'll see a reduction in headcount as people are tried out. I think you won't see an eager rehiring of people, And you'll definitely see an incentive to replace certain work streams with tokens or agents or some form of AI workflow. The models are now good enough that in a fair few areas, particularly knowledge work, you can replace human labour with something that can do 60, 70, 80%, again, context matters, of that job, also under the proviso that it will likely slowly get better. I think the industries that are really impacted are software, particularly because you can put the whole harness into an agent and let it loop to a good outcome. And also because every model company is RLing their way towards good software models. Look at Claude Code, look at Codex, look at Open. Like everyone wants to attack this problem. But in particular, I think people who are involved in coordination are not going to be in a great place. I think if your job is middle management, making decks, getting people aligned, moving Excel files around, holding meetings, coordinating information, that kind of work is going to be ambiently farmed out to AI and agents very quickly. And that's an area you should definitely be worried about. The flip side of this, though, is that I think net new businesses will reach for tokens over labour for almost everything. We're already seeing this. There's the meme about the $1 billion ARR single-person business. While I reckon that's BS, I think you will see net new businesses do way more with way fewer people and way fewer headcount. And they'll move a huge chunk of their capital expenditure and business process purely over to token-based systems. I hope that helps.
Okay, I have multiple points of feedback to that. Firstly, one, he's walking it back. Two, Dan Nolan is like, what's the word I would say? Lugubrious? Is that a word?
It is a word, but I don't know if it's the one you're looking for.
It feels right, though. Dan's, he's a great guy.
Love Dan.
He's a great chat.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I love having a yarn with Dan Nolan, I feel like that wasn't him.
You think that was AI Dan?
That was AI Dan.
I don't think so.
I think that was AI Dan.
I think he was just being real serious about it.
If he started talking like that at the pub,
yeah, you'd call the police for sure. For sure. But look,
sorry, but all big respect to
for calling
a real
it
head,
totally
a real
unjustified,
downy.
And good luck to him on the forthcoming Canva IPO.
Yeah,
given that his
I guess context. Obviously, Dan Nolan, not only former guest but founder of Magic Brief,
which was acquired by Canva, and now he's quite exposed.
Usually not quite that boring, Dan. Usually not quite that boring.
Anyway, look, I know the software market is down, but I hope it is not down when the IPO occurs on your base.
Yeah, we're praying for a big Canva IPO. We've said this before. Get it out the door.
Just get it out. The clock is ticking, folks.
Well, maybe now they need to wait, though. They need to wait to come out of SaaSpocalypse.
Totally. Hopefully that's the end of it. All right.
We were calling for that IPO years ago.
We were. The last question we're going to answer, and this is also a bit of a random one. E-bikes for ratbag kids.
Okay.
What's the solution there? Or is there even a problem?
It's a great question.
I will say this, this is Sydney chat again. It seems like this is a real Northern Beaches problem.
Oh, no. I mean...
I know they're about.
There's
But whenever you see like a story in news.com.au that's about like teenagers on fat bikes terrorizing people, fat bike e-bikes, it's always like they're on a golf course on the Northern Beaches.
I think let kids be kids. Let kids be kids.
Let kids be kids.
I know... What are the stats? I don't want to know, actually. I don't want to know the stats. Like, I've never seen someone mangled in an e-bike calamity.
I've heard it happens, but I've not seen it.
I think, look, the e-bike thing, they shouldn't have started making them look like motorbikes. Because I think that's a cool thing, right? It's like you have an e-bike, but it looks like a motorbike, and you do like mad wheelies on it or whatever.
Yep.
And it's like, just make it look like a nerdy bike. Like when e-bikes look like nerdy bikes, but go pretty fast.
Like a Lime bike.
Yeah, you can get away with it. Well, more like a courier kind of food delivery thing. Some of those guys are fucking fanging on it, but it still looks a bit like a bike. But they made them look like motorbikes now.
Yeah, totally. Once it's got a bit of like dirt bike swag to it,
you're
incentivizing people to go mad on them.
Yeah.
Look, no one wants to see kids get hurt.
No, obviously that's
it. But
down round number 3 rule.
Totally, and they shouldn't be like going crazy. They shouldn't be forming gangs.
Don't destroy any golf course greens.
Exactly. This is a big problem.
It takes a long time to like make a green good.
Totally. So don't be doing that stuff.
You're drawing attention to yourself, and when the regulation comes, you'll only have yourself to blame.
And don't upset your parents. Don't. I'm speaking to the 14-year-olds listening to Down Around right now.
Exactly. Your parents, you don't understand. I know to you right now, you might think they're lame or whatever, but they've been raising you. Think about the years 0 to 10. All they did for you.
Yeah, exactly. And this is how you repay them. I will say the scooters seem a bit much.
the super fast
the
scooters.
super fast, like motorized
Well,
scooters.
legislation is coming, unfortunately, and this is the thing: we all pay the price. We, the responsible e-bikers.
The guys who are exactly responsible adults with jobs and families who happen to be going 40 kilometers an hour on a scooter through the CBD.
Yeah, I know. We get our shit throttled.
Exactly. Anyway, folks, we have more questions. So
We have more questions than answers.
we do. Actually, no, we've got exactly the same number of questions and answers. 'Cause
Equilibrium.
We have an answer for everything.
The
So-
efficient market hypothesis plays out once again.
It certainly does. So if you are not a subscriber to Down Around Premium, I would strongly encourage you to sign up. Head to downaround.net. You become a Down Around Premium subscriber. You get an extra episode per week. You can join our Discord. Well, that's actually basically the limit of the benefits, but they are pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
They're great. And we're going to hear the
it'd be
second half.
bargain at twice the price.
Q&A. If you want to hear us talk about the crypto industry, if you want to hear us talk about which Magnificent Seven CEO we could fight,
Oh,
that's a question
great
for you.
Question.
That's red hot. It's on the other side of the paywall. We'll see you there, folks.